Through it all, Texas continued being Texas during the 1960s. In 1966, Barbara Jordan of Houston became the first black woman to win election to the state Senate. This would energize her political career and ultimately lead to a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Her hometown continued to have a huge influence on Texas, and business leaders like George Brown continued to quietly determine how the state should behave from their suites at the Lamar Hotel downtown. The Houston Astrodome, the first dome sports complex in the world, opened as home of football's Houston Oilers. San Antonio provided an example of a culturally diverse city working together on major projects. The World's Fair, or Hemisphere 1968, ran from April through October of that year and showcased San Antonio, its history, and its future. The Tower of the Americas became the iconic structure of that event and created a new landmark in town to compete with the Alamo. Dallas remained under the gloom of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Even so, professional sports proved a new distraction as the Dallas Cowboys kept plugging away under the unflappable leadership of head coach and Mission, Texas native Tom Landry. In 1969, quarterback Roger Staubach joined the team and changed football history. Meanwhile, a skateboard craze swept the city, and teenagers enthusiastically took to the fad. Still, several realities continue to haunt the state. Integration continued slowly and remained a turbulent process in many locations. A new reality, white flight, drained cities of many established families who moved to the growing suburbs where the populations could live in school districts and local politics free from racial turmoil. Meanwhile, many traditional African American communities collapsed as black families moved to areas of greater opportunity. The oil patch suffered as well. Production started to drop off, and confusion over state and federal energy policy became complicated. The fear that the United States had reached peak oil, the limits of the reserves within the nation's territory, added to the pessimism.
In order to survive as a nation, we must go out on an all-out production effort for all forms of energy.
Foreign competition increased at the same time, and the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, began to reorganize and reorient global markets. Large overseas operators like Saudi Arabia's Aramco hired Texas oil talent to develop their fields. Music and the use of illegal drugs became an outlet for protest during this era, as well as an expression of a break with the past. Austin, Texas, with its flagship university, began to attract adventurous young men and women who fueled a growing live music scene. Meanwhile, Louisville hosted the 1969 Texas International Pop Festival, the largest music festival in the state.
On the first day, everybody's kind of strangers, but by the time they leave here, I'll tell you, they'll all be together.
The Vietnam War also ground on it. The helicopter training facility at Camp Walters in Mineral Wells pumped out pilots and crews. Hundreds of thousands of Texans served in the military during this era. 8 earned the Medal of Honor. Nearly 3,500 Texans died in combat. Many remain missing in action. From Abilene to Yorktown, cities across Texas lost young men in that brutal war. It was an unsettled and challenging time.